I covered this topic many times in the past on my channel with the supposed O.J. Simpson murder trial, which is nothing more than a divide and conquer news story. This is how the media keeps the divide and conquer alive. Supposedly, a few years back, a construction worker found a knife on the former estate of O.J. Simpson, just on the perimeter. He turned it over to an off-duty police officer, and that police officer kept the knife for all these years. Just recently, it was turned over to the police. They're supposedly all mad about the fact that this man, this off-duty police officer, now retired, kept the knife. Understand, again, this is nothing more than a hoax, nothing more than a psyop, keeping these old news stories, keeping the divide and conquer alive. This is how they do it. And understand, TMZ, just like CNN, is owned by Time Warner. So for the people that don't watch CNN, don't watch the mainstream news, this is how they do it. TMZ's for the younger crowd. They want to get this out there. Again, keeping an old story alive. And of course, keeping the divide and conquer alive. I'm going to include my previous video covering the O.J. Simpson trial, which is, again, nothing more than a hoax.
The story of O.J. Simpson goes to the heart of the racial divide in America.
This was the first wall-to-wall televised trial, the perfect soap opera.
I'm Jim Moran. Los Angeles court is once again in session.
Reporter Jim Moran covered the trial for CNN.
It was something that you had to watch. You have a football hero. You have a beautiful blonde ex-wife. You have a good-looking young man who's killed. If you wrote this drama, no one would believe it. If you wrote this drama, no one would believe it.
Objection is sustained.
The bearded judge, Lance Ito, with those signature specs. Just one of a bizarre set of characters who became a household name.
You couldn't cast this trial any better.
Beautiful star in my daytime drama. When I ask a question or an answer, see you dancing, romancing.
It was believed that Shapiro, at the time a close friend of Bailey, wanted to bring Bailey aboard to resuscitate his career and at the same time avail himself of his considerable intelligence and experience.
Defendant O.J. Simpson has the right to have his case decided by this jury and not some
Alan Dershowitz.
Ron Goldman was 25, an aspiring actor, loving son, and young man ready for marriage.
I have to spend the next 50, 60 years of my life alone, knowing that the person that I was expecting to live with is gone. 50, 60 years of my life.
Incredible discrepancy between horrific events that she describes and her very, very cool demeanor. And if you look closely, you'll see duping delight throughout this video.
But at night, when I close my eyes, I can see Christy reaching her hand out to me while I'm driving, and the blood just keep coming out of her mouth. And that, maybe it'll fade too with time, but I don't think so. That haunts me the most.
Ricky Kleeman, we've been here now for 9 months following this, and
Now that you see the outcome, aside from the fact that it came so swiftly, what's your reaction?
Well, I think that my reaction is that
I've never seen you almost speechless, Rick.
well, I'm looking at my hands, Fred, and they are as soaking wet as if it had been a verdict that I was on either side. And
to sit in court and look at the back of O.J. Simpson's head, you know, sitting ahead of you, and listening and never being able to say anything.
Yeah, I learned how to sit on my hands a lot and bite the insides of my cheeks. It's very frustrating, and I know that's what Travis's family is dealing with right now, wanting to scream and wanting to defend him because he's not here to defend himself, wanting to cheer on the prosecutor, wanting to probably submit questions. It's very frustrating, and I know that's what Travis's family is dealing with right now, wanting to scream and wanting to defend him because he's not here to defend himself.
To listen to Cochran and Shapiro and all of them stand up there and proclaim all the innocence and try your case according to the evidence. Okay, you don't have to bring in all this other crap. You don't have to say that everybody's a racist, everybody's a liar. If your client is so innocent, then the evidence should prove that. You shouldn't have to pull in all this other baloney.
The chief suspect, O.J. Simpson, famous football star, and Nicole's former husband. Ron Goldman's sister, Kim, heard the news from her father, Fred.
He said, "Did you hear the news? Did you hear about O.J. Simpson and Nicole Brown?" I said, "Who are these people? What is happening?" And then he said, Ron's dead." And I didn't understand right away, and then he repeated it again, and I remember I was kind of spiraling. I went down to the floor.
At one point, Kim even considered getting even with the man she believed killed her brother.
Didn't you spot Simpson in a parking lot at some point?
I did. I had my foot on the pedal. I was white-knuckling the steering wheel, and I was revving, thinking I could take him out. I'm the only one. There's nobody here. I could do this. I could do this.
Did you really send him a card saying, "Welcome to your new home"? Mm-hmm. Did you really send him a card saying, "Welcome to your new home"?
Mm-hmm. It's all the fun we can have here. It's all the fun we can have here.
Not to forget Mark, our victim's advocate.
His captors,
as Americans,
I think the prosecutor rushed to bring charges and then chose to charge Mr. Zimmerman with second-degree murder.
Join me now with reaction, and this is much more. Former LAPD Detective Mark Furman. Mark, first your reaction to that. It seems that a lot of people here have rushed to judgment. It happens often in high-profile cases like this. What's your reaction?
Well, Sean, you know, a homicide investigation, which this is, should be conducted in a vacuum so the detectives cannot be sidetracked by all this drama going on.
When I look at Eric Garner, if nothing else, these officers are guilty of poor judgment. And I'm not saying that the police have to look the other way when they think the law is broken, but sometimes you have to balance things and look at a situation and say, hey, is this really worth it?
Picked her up, threw her against a wall. Picked her up, threw her out of the house.
What did the defendant say about your sister's weight while she was pregnant?
I used to call her a fat pig. He used to comment like this all the time.
Can he make hand gestures?
Yes.
Holding both hands apart as you just indicated on the record?
Yes.
All right, the clerk is directed to record the verdicts as read. All right, the clerk is directed to record the verdicts as read.
I don't think one member of my family cried. We were so stunned. I mean, I at least thought that there was going to be a hung jury. I guess I just still had that hopes of it being a hung jury. But I couldn't cry. I was like numb. I was like dead. I was like shocked that it went that route.
But then on the other hand, I wasn't shocked at all because of what had happened throughout the whole process of the trial. And when we went in the back, we were taken upstairs into the DA's office again, and Gil Garcetti comes in and makes his little speech of, "Oh, I'm so sorry. I thought, you son of a bitch, you heartless son of a bitch, you're so sorry. You turned this thing into a goddamn mockery of a trial, and you're so sorry."
When Gabe and I left the detention center, my only focus up till this point in time has been securing Mr. Simpson's release from
Nice work, dude. Up high.
Thank you very much.
Yes, right here. Come on, don't let me hang.
Thank you. And I appreciate that.
Thank you, buddy. Nice work.
Is your client innocent or not guilty? I'm not sure there's a difference in the eyes of the law.
He's both, dude. He's innocent and not guilty. Thank you.
So far, I can't talk about that. So far, I am incredibly impressed at how.
And let me say, as we move forward, I'm sure that the chief has other things he may put out there. We believe the most important thing, not any kind of pictures, is people will always create sideshows in situations like this. People will always create sideshows in situations like this.
I had told you. You listening?
Well, maybe we could break until the morning if that was.
No. I'm leaving today.
What's that?
I'm leaving today. No.
Are you refusing to come back tomorrow?
To you?
Are you refusing
Okay,
to come?
we need to keep this a question and answer about her testimony.
I think we should plan on at least a couple of hours.
What?
I forever grateful that you saved my life. A knife! A knife! I ain't gonna go blind.
I think that it all started with my understanding of what the purpose of my fraternity was, and those who went before me.
But Garcetti hasn't strayed too far from the law or politics. He became a script consultant for TV dramas like The Closer.
I'll be investigating your victim for murder, and you can leave.
And his son is now the mayor of Los Angeles.
Writing novels and being in the courtroom, it's a storytelling job. No matter how you look at it, it's the same thing.
Don't want a hard patch, just a few facts. Misuse and abuse. You write your story, ask but for playtime, time for love.
In total, the jury slapped O.J. with $33.5 million in damages.
We did jury in the above entitled case.
13 years to the day after he was acquitted of murders and sentenced to a maximum of 33 years in prison.
Isn't it ironic that 32 is the number and they put him in room 32? That is.
What's the chances of that? What's the chances of that?